Thanks for tuning in to the Think Status podcast. I'm your host, Hector Diaz. And on this show, we got Lewis Howes. Lewis Howes became a social media sensation, empowering people and sharing his greatness from across the globe. And he has his share of obstacles to overcome. And on this show, he's going to talk to you about how he overcame them. I hope you enjoy. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Lewis. We appreciate it. I know it's been an amazing journey for you, and I wanted to just give our audience a little bit of backstory about how things changed with you and your life growing up.
One of the first moments that I remember was in third grade, actually. And I remember always feeling kind of not really accepted as a kid. I was kind of taller. I was kind of a goofy-looking kid, kind of awkward. And I remember there was a moment during recess, actually, believe it or not, where we had a team, a dodgeball competition between our class. So we split up the class in two teams, and I remember being the last person picked on one of the teams. And it was at that moment I was just like, this doesn't feel good to be the last person picked. I mean, I never really want to have this feeling ever again. I thought to myself, if I can become the best athlete that I can be, then I'll never get picked last. And that's kind of one of the early defining moments when I realized that I'll always want to be the best because I never want to have that feeling again.
That's pretty huge, how you decided and used the disappointment to fuel your future achievements. And then something else happened when you were in college. You want to go into that?
It was a big moment for me when I got injured. After playing arena football, even my dreams were crumbled. I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, and I had no clear path or direction for the rest of my life because I had focused on trying to be a professional athlete. And once those kind of dreams were shattered, it was trying to figure out what was next. And again, it was, I think, the hunger for achieving greatness. It didn't matter what it was. I just had to transition from being an athlete into being, the next phase of my life. I just knew I wanted to achieve greatness in whatever it was. And that's when I started to get into the business world.
Sounds like you honed in on your hunger to take you to another level, right?
I think for me, and I guess it's probably just personal in my situation, and maybe it's different for different people, but for me, I was sleeping on my sister's couch, and I was 24, 25 years old. And I realized that I didn't want to be, a grown-ass man, an adult, sleeping on my sister's couch, not being able to feed myself. It was the desire to just really afford my own apartment, afford my own food, have my own car, and feel like I can take care of myself. And that was the beginning of the desire. It was just like, I need to be able to meet my basic needs. And so I was willing to do whatever it took, sacrifice anything, time, energy, the things that I enjoyed doing, getting rid of those things to make sure that I could take care of myself first. And that's kind of where it started. That's when I realized I was good in business, then I wanted to start helping more people, and I wanted to have a bigger message and reach more people that way. So it originally started with just, I need to make sure I can take care of myself, have my own place, to, okay, now I want to change the world.
That's huge right there. The desire to change the world is huge. So were you big into personal development, things like that?
Not like specifically seeking personal development, but I've always been trying to figure out better ways to become a better person, best version of myself. I read self-help books when I was younger to try to figure out how to become better and things like that. But I've always just wanted to become the best version of myself, I think.
So tell us some of your favorite books.
Yeah, I really like The Alchemist, which is by Pablo Coelho. It's a great one for discovering your own journey and figuring out where you want to go in life. So I really like that. Another one that I read actually back in college was like a spiritual guide to dating. It was called If the Buddha Dated. It was like a Buddhist guide, I guess, on dating. And I really appreciated like the patience and understanding that it was talking about in the book on dating. And you can use this for relationships in general in your own life, but I just really liked having this approach to the book. Have you read that book?
I have not, no.
If the Buddha Dated, it's a great book.
You mentioned something earlier about business, starting out your own business, being able to provide for yourself. From all the things that you learned in that situation, what would you advise somebody who's in that same spot right now?
One of the best ways to focus on building your business and taking it to the next level, I think, is one, starting with your personal brand, because the way people perceive you is going to be based on, is going to determine, what they buy from you, if they hire you, if they go to your events, whatever it is you try to tell them to do, it's going to be based on that. So I think really building a personal brand, that can start with social media, that can start with having great testimonials, recommendations, the way you brand yourself, the actual look of it, all that different types of stuff, your personal brand is important. So I think protect your personal brand and make sure you're putting off the perception you want other people to think about you. That's step one. The second step, I think the most important part of building a business is building your email list or your database. And the bigger the database, the more you can sell them, whether your products or other people's products. But it's all about building that database. So figuring out ways to get people to opt in. That can be creating content, that could be videos, podcasting like this, that could be guest posting, that could be interviews, it could be webinars, it could be anything you want to do. But figuring out a way to generate leads is a great way to build your business. Seeing a lot of success from people, from real estate investors who use LinkedIn to find more investors for their deals. We've seen a lot of people who've used our YouTube program to post videos of their listings and use our information to help get those videos ranked higher for specific keywords in their local market. So they're selling more deals faster. And on Facebook as well, getting those referrals from their friends, posting pictures about the houses they just bought, things like that. They're all three sites are helpful for real estate agents. It just depends on what you want to be focusing on the most.
In real estate, there's a lot of people that still go door knocking and stuff like that.
Going door to door, I think if you're starting out, I think it's a great way to get sales by just doing it door to door or doing cold calling or doing things like that. Or calling people or showing them a deck and saying, here's the different services I have. I think the best way to get the sales is through referral and recommendation, in my opinion, because people are willing to buy based on recommendation or someone they know has seen success or results. So if you're just starting out, sure, cold calling is fine, but once you get that first sale or first client or whatever it may be, you could even do free work for people and then get them results and then ask them to make a couple of recommendations for you. And if you over-deliver for people, they're going to be happy to make introductions for you.
That's huge. There was a book actually on that same topic called Recession Proof Graduate by Charlie Hone. Anyway, I digress. So talk to me about your workout. I heard you do CrossFit. Are you still doing that?
I'm a big CrossFitter. Yeah, I do CrossFit about 3-4 times a week. It all depends when, if I'm traveling or if I'm not traveling. It's a powerful way to stay in shape, a powerful way to keep your mind right. It's a great way to stay fit.
Why do you still work out so hard?
One of my goals right now is to play in the Olympics in 2016 for a sport called team handball. So I'm currently on the U.S. national team for this sport, and it's my goal to be an Olympic athlete. So I'm just training extremely hard, one, to stay competitive and sharp in business, but two, really just so I can compete at a high level and make the Olympics.
What's one of your favorite aspects of the work that you do now?
One of the favorite aspects of the work I do is really getting to inspire others and create aha moments for other people. So when I get to create content or I do a webinar or whatever it may be, or I write a post and I share something with people, but they're like, wow, this is amazing, and they end up going on to taking action on what I share with them, and then they get results from it. It's the responses they give me with the results they get when they're making so much more money or they're seeing the results happen for their business. That's when I get excited, because it's just proving that my information is helping a lot of people. And those moments when they get very excited just excites me.
Yeah, I remember the first podcast of yours was with the guy who wrote Mastery, Robert Greene. That was a phenomenal show, and telling my listeners about it because it was so valuable and I got a lot of takeaways from it. What would you suggest to people struggling in their business?
I guess it all depends on what their goal is. Say, figure out your goal, and then you can work backwards from trying to achieve that goal. But if you're just struggling in your business and you have no goal, then where are you trying to go? What's the point? So it all depends. If they have a goal and they're struggling, then there's ways they can figure out, because they could be struggling from getting leads, from getting traffic, from getting sales, from gaining credibility, from getting the press. And once they know what their challenge is, then it's easy to break through and attack that challenge and get results from it. So I guess it all depends on where they're currently at. But I would say be aware of where you're at, create the goal, and then work backwards and find the best resource to help you overcome that specific challenge.
I love that. Work backwards from the goal. That's extremely valuable.
I think cold calling and door knocking is the hardest way to get into it. But direct response marketing is, type of marketing that's really designated to help generate immediate response from customers, figuring out where each customer responds from and purchases from. So it could be advertising on Facebook or Google or whatever it may be, but you can get direct response from people based on that information you post out there. And I think if you've got the money to do that, then it's important to do that. If you don't have any money, then you obviously can't do that as much. You can't send out mail. You can't do TV infomercials. You can't do advertising on Facebook. You've got to hustle and spend the time door to door and cold calling. But otherwise, I think direct response marketing is great.
What about automation, like email automation?
Automation is obviously great. You want to be able to remove yourself as much as possible so that you can generate those sales and build a relationship through automated tools, as opposed to doing one by one and spending the energy on your own. So definitely automate it when you can.
So where would you recommend getting started?
If you have no money, I would recommend using social media to build your following and build your personal brand. If you have money, then I would recommend using Facebook ads. I know a guy that spent over $1 million last year on Facebook ads, and he made a lot of money just running Facebook ads to a squeeze page and sales page.
All right, so switching gears into your legacy. How do you want people to remember you?
When it's all said and done, I think I'd like to be remembered as someone who inspired millions and millions of people to live their life the way they want to live it. So I think for me, I'm learning a lot of great new things every day. I'm building businesses. I'm, playing for the national team in handball. But what I'm really doing is I'm only doing the things I want to do every single day. So I want to inspire other people by me living the life the way I want to live it, and other people seeing that there's a way that they can do that as well. They're not stuck to helping build someone else's dream or work a 9 to 5 doing what someone else wants to do in their life. Instead, they can live their exact lifestyle at all times, have great relationships, stay healthy, and live an awesome life. And I think that's kind of the goal for me, is just to make sure that I'm living a great life the way I want to live it and inspire others people to do the same for their own.
Thank you so much for your time. Where can our listeners find more about you?
The best place to go and connect with me is at my website, lewishowes.com. And you can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter from there. I've got all my information online there.
Thanks again, Lewis, for your time. I look forward to hopefully meeting you at a conference or an event coming up.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lewis. All right, so that completes show number 1 for the Think Status podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube, wherever you heard this. Please subscribe to us. Leave us a great review if you enjoyed the show. The music was provided by bensound.com. I'm Hector Diaz. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.